Okay. I want to start by first thanking all of you on this call for basically stepping up and volunteering to be in a leadership role. I think you are going to play definitely a crucial part in your group's success in this program, especially considering that what we're looking for out of leaders is to make sure that you're holding your group accountable for certain things and also making sure to kind of keep the momentum going, because at the end of the day, this program is going to be a lot of fun, and we want to make sure that we keep everybody in a beautiful state. And I think as leaders, you'll be able to have that influence over your group. So thank you very much for stepping up and taking on this role. One of the things I kind of want to go over is the expectations. And so, you know, as a leader, we're really giving you the authority to kind of do as you please with your group. And so what I mean by that is if group email threads is what works best for you, go ahead and use that. If Facebook Messenger may be something that you kind of want to put together a Facebook Messenger group, that's absolutely an option. If you want to use Boxer and figure out a way how to do the group boxing. So you have the authority to kind of make the decisions on how you want to run your groups. Did everybody, if you could just say yes, did everybody get the email with me introducing you to your groups?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, I did too. Thanks.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'll say is already, so Janik, who I don't know if you guys know Janik and Irvi, they were the Indian couple that was at the event. They were sitting kind of in the front row. They're very involved in the Mastery program. So Irvi already sent a message to his group, and I was copied on that email, and I already saw him. He's trying to kind of have a competition with you guys, and so he's like, let's make our group like the most fun group here. Like, I want to start by naming our group. And so you know, Nancy Yonker, she's in that group as well, so she chimed in, and so they're already kind of getting a kickstart. So I think the first thing would be at least introducing yourself. And I know, so Lorna, for example, you have Ron Huxtable, I think, in your group, and he reached out to me and he said, can you give me a bio on Lorna? Like, I don't really, I don't know anything about her. And I said, when I have the call with the leaders, I'm going to tell them that one of the first things they should do is introduce themselves, who they are, what they do, what they're looking to get out of Mastery, and kind of how they want to help support you and your visions and your goals, and work together at achieving those goals. So I think that's going to be the first thing, is making sure that you at least introduce yourself to your team and just get them hyped up. Then the next thing would be definitely kind of setting the foundation for what's going to work well with your group, and getting kind of a general understanding of, are you going to do weekly? Are you going to do bi-weekly? Are you doing one long monthly, or how you want to handle your group meetings based on everybody's schedule and availability. And then, like I said, figuring out the options. So Facebook Messenger works well for some people. But what I want to show you today is obviously Zoom, and how we use Zoom to do all of David's calls. And we like Zoom because, number one, it's free. Number two, it's really easy to use. I know, Michelle, you already have experience with Zoom, so you can even speak to how easy it is to use. You can record your calls if you want to record and provide your group with the recordings of the calls for accountability purposes, or for those who have missed it. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And what I did was, because I'm actually on the call, I'm not able to, do a live call with you and train you how it would work. So what I did is I kind of put together a simple Word document that I screenshotted actually earlier today, as you can see with my beautiful hat. So once you log in to, let me actually start by showing you, let's see, Zoom. Okay, so this is Zoom. This is where you're going to sign up for a free account. when you sign up, here's the only restriction with the free account. They do limit your time to 40 minutes per call on the free account. So if you intend on holding longer meetings, which again, it's up to you, at that point, Zoom would ask you to upgrade to the Pro plan, which is $15 a month. Now, we don't want this to be an additional expense to you, so at that point, you can either make a decision on whether or not you want to strictly keep your accountability calls to, 30, 40 minutes, or if you want to move over to another system that you might know works better, like Skype, or something that your group is a little bit more familiar with. So that's completely up to you. So once you go in here and you create your free account, you're going to have some really quick, simple setting features like add your picture, add your personal information. But what I want to show you is once you, and I'm going to log into my account here. Let me see if this is mine. That's David's. Okay, so once you're in your account, you're going to go to a screen like this. And again, like I said, this is going to be where all of your settings are. My profile. You can set specific meeting settings. But the most important part is going to be here, scheduling your meetings. So you just simply click schedule a new meeting. And you're going to go through the notions of just naming your topic. Now, what I do, so for example, with David's calls, since we know that his calls are going to be every single Sunday, and we don't want to create any confusion by creating new links every single week, because how frustrating would that be if for some people, they just want to save the link once and know that every Sunday they're hopping on that same link. So what I would recommend you do as well is create something like, accountability, or we could do like master accountability group call. Name it whatever you want to name it. Again, get fun with it. And then go ahead, and what I do is I set a reoccurring meeting, but I say it to be no fixed time. And so this way, you're not necessarily scheduling this, but instead what you would do, and what I do here is I just say no fixed time, and I put I don't require a meeting password. It's up to you how you want to handle this. But if you want to require a meeting password, or if you want to enable somebody to join, before the host, because I don't know if some of you noticed, but if I wasn't on the call yet, it wouldn't let you in until I actually click start meeting.
Right.
I personally like, so people aren't just, kind of sitting there. Or you can, and this allows your group to be able to have the opportunity to talk amongst themselves, whoever comes before you. And you guys can stop me if at any time, you have questions around anything on the screen, just feel free to chime in. I mean, it's a small enough group to where I'm okay with just stopping where I'm at, okay?
Okay.
Are you good so far?
So far, so good.
Can I ask a quick question, Megan? This is Lorna.
Yep.
Where it says use personal meeting ID, is that your distinct to you?
This personal meeting ID is, this is the ID that it's going to create.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to create the Zoom. Like if you look at the Zoom link that I sent you, there should be like a series of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that personal ID is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
So what you're going to do is once you create the meeting, you click save. And then this is the really neat feature, is that right off the bat, you can go ahead and select so depending on what calendar you use, I mean, I have Outlook. So I click on Outlook. On the bottom left, it's going to pull up the meeting. And then I just pull this up. And now what I do is simply include the dates that I want to send for. So for example, if you and your group decide that you guys are going to meet every Wednesday night, then all you're doing is setting this up one time, And then in Outlook, obviously, if you guys use Outlook, you know you can do a reoccurring. So say today was going to be the first call, and then you were going to go in and say weekly on every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And then once you create this in Outlook and you invite all of your attendees here, then that would go onto their calendars. It'd be up to them to accept it. And then you'd never have to touch it again. And you know that every Wednesday, everybody has it on their calendar. So that's one way that you can easily manage it. And that's how I personally did all of David's group coaching calls. So that's why when you guys accepted it one time, hopefully you guys all have it on every Sunday on your calendars moving forward. So again, same thing would apply depending on if you're using, Google, Yahoo, or Outlook. It would be the same process. But and then of course the other thing that I would do is this is the actual link too. So there's two ways you can get the details. You can either click this, and you saw in the meeting there were these details. So you could simply copy and paste this information. If you wanted to then send an email out to everybody saying, hey everybody, I set up our reoccurring meetings for Wednesdays at 5 p.m. moving forward, just in case you want to keep this information handy somewhere else, and you could copy all this information. And again, this gives people the opportunity, if they're on the road and they just want to listen in, or they don't have their webcam set up, or they don't have their computer on them, they can also obviously just call in, so they don't have to always do the web conference. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, if I could add one point to that.
Yeah.
If anybody decides to create a Facebook group for their folks and create a Facebook event for the call, that link, as of 2 weeks ago, that link does not work properly in Facebook. So if they did it from a smartphone from the invite, it won't open the application and people can run into a problem. Just a quick FYI.
That's a good, can you explain that one more time just so I know?
Sure. If you, as an example, you know how you can create a Facebook event.
Yeah.
And in the event, you can say where, and sometimes you can just put the link in the where.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody who said they were going to the event and they clicked on that from their smartphone or their tablet, the link won't work.
Is that a universal issue with Facebook, or is that
Yes,
Zoom
it's a Facebook thing.
Okay.
And that was as of 2 weeks ago. I haven't tried it recently to see if now that Zoom has updated, if they did something on their end where it was good with Facebook. I don't know yet, but I can just speak from 2 weeks ago that there's a disconnect that happens there. So I usually end up telling people, and in the instructions, it doesn't say that you need the app. It just has a quick link.
Got it.
So I just advise people to open up the app and then put in the meeting number. But sometimes it's just squirrely, depending on the OS that the phone is running, etc.
Yeah, so maybe keep everything in terms of the meeting links outside of, like, you could still create maybe the Facebook event if that's how you want to manage it, and then keep everything outside. That's a good point. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, once the meeting is set up, you'll see under upcoming meetings that you will have the meeting that you had set up. So what you would want to do, and see the meeting ID code that I was referencing earlier is this Zoom meeting.
Okay.
So what you would do then at this point is you would you could do it one of two ways. You could either pull up your calendar invitation and click on the link, and Zoom's going to recognize that it's you as the host and start it. If it does give you issues and you aren't, and it doesn't open up and it says like the host still needs to start the meeting and you are the host, you will have to come in here and make sure that you click start the meeting. And then it would just pull up just normal, like what you're seeing right now as you're on here. Okay?
Okay.
So once you're on here, this is kind of how it's going to obviously look when you're a host. So you get all these kind of additional features here, which I don't think you would see right now as a participant. I don't think. Do you guys see this as a participant in your screens?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
No.
Oh.
You see participants, share screen, and chat. I don't think you see record
Yeah.
or
Okay.
invite. Yeah.
Got it. Yep. So I knew there was a couple additional ones. So Same things would apply, except for, like I said, the additional features. So to manage the participants, what happens is when you click on manage participants, on the right side, there's going to be a little bar that comes up and it's going to tell you everybody who's currently on the call with you. And there you have the ability to either mute people, or you could, rename them for the sake of, you being able to, I guess, rename them if they didn't put their correct name in their Zoom settings. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, you'll also see if people like either chat in or raise their hand, or there's some additional features that you can see that the participants do over in this participant bar. You'll want to, so when you first log in, if you decide that you're going to record the calls, you can do it when you're either already on your webcam in the beginning, or you can also do it when you're sharing your screen. So in the event that you share your screen and then you remember mid-meeting that you forgot to record, I'll show you how you can, instead of having to turn your webcam off and go back to that screen, there's another way to go ahead and record from the share screen mode. So simply click record. All of the recordings are converted to an MP4, and then I noticed that they're saved on your computer under documents. So when you end a meeting, a little pop-up pops up that says like converting your meeting, and then once the bar gets filled up, a pop-up pops up with the My Documents folder, and that's where you can find the recording. What we typically do with the recordings is then obviously upload them to a platform like YouTube, if you have a YouTube account, and then this way it makes it easier for people to obviously view. And then you can put a short description. So if you have meetings that you're structuring a certain way and you want to give descriptions on what was covered in that meeting, you can do that in YouTube as well. Then to share screen, it's as simple as just clicking the share screen button. Once you do that, a little pop-up like this is going to appear. It says select a window. So you're going to select, whatever window it is that you want to share. Click share screen. And then when you're sharing your screen, this is what it's going to look like. So your bar is going to basically pop up at the top, and it's going to have all the same features again, where you can shut off your webcam, where you can mute yourself, manage your participants. When you want to stop sharing and go back to your webcam, there's this little red button that just says stop share, and that'll bring your webcam back up. And then you'll notice when you go into this mode, this is where you start to see people on the side. So as there's more participants, and a little arrow will appear down here so that you can, I think it only displays a certain amount of people, like 4 or 5 people at a time. So you'll just have to scroll down in the event that you, want to see kind of, check in on people and see that they're still with you or they're not confused about anything. Then, like I said, to stop share, click the stop share button. Under the setting more, that's where you're going to find some additional settings. So again, when you're in a share mode and you're out of your webcam, in the event that you forgot to record, click on more, and you can go down here and you can record from here. You also have the ability to invite people to the call while you're currently on it. So when you click invite, it's going to ask you what email address, and someone will immediately get an email to come and join the meeting that you currently have going on. You can also chat with people, and you can do chat in 2 different ways. You can either say chat with everyone, and this way everybody in it sees, or if you want to personally send a message to somebody, and if you don't want anybody else to see it, then you could just say chat with Michelle, and then you two can have a private chat session kind of going on during the call. And then, as far as just ending the meeting, once you go back to, so what you would typically do is share your screen, go through your settings, and then I would imagine you'd probably say stop sharing, come back so that everybody can just see, your face, and you can go over kind of the wrap up, and then end your meeting. At the very bottom, there's a little button for end meeting, and that's when if you had been recording it, the pop-up would appear saying, okay, we're converting your file now to an MP4. And then at that point in time, it's up to you. You can either keep them in your documents and upload it on a later date to a place like YouTube to share, or, typically I just kind of knock it out right away because it's really fast and easy to just quickly upload it to YouTube. And this is where you'll see.
May I add one quick thing, Megan?
Yeah.
If you could please scroll back up in your document to the view options. That one.
Yep.
One thing to note is the fourth option, disable attendee annotation. That is key because if you share your screen and somebody who's watching is a multitasker and tries to switch windows, they may inadvertently draw lines all over your presentation.
Yeah,
So that way, at least if somebody's trying to multitask, even though we shouldn't, while on the call, they won't disrupt your presentation.
Oh, perfect. That's good. Thank you for adding that. Yeah, so that's pretty much, the other option is, so in the event that say Michelle has, an appointment and she has to leave, but the group's like, we really still want to stay on the call. We have a couple more things that we want to talk about. Michelle, as the host, can either when she clicks end meeting, she has the option to either end the meeting for everybody, which would disconnect everybody, or she could simply leave the meeting and everybody that's still currently on the meeting can still, continue to meet until they're done. Again, this is going to be, if you have the free plan, it's going to be the 40-minute max. So you want to make sure that, they're aware that at the 40-minute mark, Zoom will stop the call with a little notification that pops up saying you've reached your limit. So it's important that if you let your group members do that they know that, they're limited on the time. So that's pretty much all I had. I mean, it's super easy. There are more things to kind of get into, but I would encourage you guys to, you could even get a training here. If you look on the, once you create your account, there's a simple little training to get you a little bit more familiar with it as well. But
And this is Jamie. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but before you move on and get away from that document, what Michelle was saying about that annotation thing, Michelle, were you saying that we should enable it or disable it?
Make sure that you select disable. So right now, the screenshot that that Megan has, it would read that. You would click on that and it would disable.
Okay. Great,
And
thank you.
That will
Thank
prevent
you,
somebody from accidentally drawing all over your screen.
And Michelle, I've actually never experienced that. So I didn't know that because we've never. So are you saying if you give somebody control of?
Well, no, without that being selected, once you share your screen, actually, if I were to try to do that now, so right now on my screen, I'm clicking annotate by accident. This is me.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? And this happened on a call that I was on, and the person was actually just trying to click on chat. They didn't click chat, and they were trying to switch windows, and every time they moved their mouse, it did this mess.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, in the year and a half that I've been using Zoom, I've never experienced anybody doing that.
Yeah. So to prevent that happy accident, disable.
Yeah. Now, hey, you should mess with Dave on the next call. He'll be like, what do I do? What do I do? I'll figure it out the next day. He's like, Megan, people were writing all over my screen.
The poor man would have a heart attack. No way.
Oh man. Yeah, so that's all that I have. Are there any questions in terms of anything relating to leading the group, Zoom, Facebook, or any questions that you may have?
This is Lorna. I just wanted to double check. You said that if you don't hit record before you push the start meeting, it won't record it. Was that correct?
So what I'm saying is when you first log in, when you get to this screen, you have this record button. So
okay.
If you forget to do it because you're in a share screen mode later, down the road, and say you're 6 minutes in, that's what I'm saying. If you're in the share screen mode, then you could go to this more and get to record this way so that you don't have to get out of share screen mode. You can quickly do it without anybody even knowing.
Got you. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then, and then I think the most important thing is, I mean, for me personally, it's always just following up to make sure that everybody got the email invitations, because I know, like, Lorna, for you, for example, you didn't see
Yeah.
the initial one to this. So I would always maybe just follow up with an email after you send it out and provide those details again if you're going to set it up as a recurring meeting, and just tell everybody, I sent out a calendar invitation. If you guys didn't, if you didn't get it, here it is, and here is what we committed to. Now, if you guys decide and your group decides that you can't pick a night right now because everybody's schedule is kind of a little bit all over the place, and you guys say, hey, on a weekly basis, let's just like all mutually decide on a email thread what night works for us this week, then at that point you'll have to do individual. Obviously, you could set it up as a reoccurring still, but when you click your calendar invite, instead of doing it as a reoccurring, then you'll just obviously set it for whatever date you decided on, and you'll have to do that, each week or each month, or however you decide to hold the frequency.
Megan, this is Jamie. I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So when the calendar invites go out, that happens from one of these 3 calendars, right? So if you're not using one of those, you probably should start, right? Because that's what sends the invite.
Unless this is just these are like these are like the plugins that they have available to make them quick links. You could do this. You could say copy the invitation, and you could take this information and whatever email provider you use or calendar you use, you could set that up, still send it to their email addresses, and depending on what provider they use, it's up to them to accept it for it to show up on theirs. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you can copy and paste it in an email and send to everybody, or you can run it through one of those little calendar apps.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they have the opportunity to say, yes, they can be there. No, they can't.
Yeah, so for me, I should charge. For me personally, like, I can see, because I use Outlook, so I can see anytime one of you, like, either declines or accepts, which is a nice feature, because then this way, if you see someone decline, you can kind of reach out and be like, hey, do we need to reschedule to a different date? I didn't realize you couldn't make it,